Hey Misfits, it's time for another snapshot, and that's where we talk about games that are up and coming, and we have the opportunity to test out and try and see where they're at. Now, this game is called Zombie Survival Infection. It's by James Cole, and they sent us this. It's like a prototype, basically, but it's almost like a finished copy. Like you guys, you don't see me behind the camera here, but I'm always talking to Tom and other Misfits behind the camera here. This almost seems like a finished product, doesn't it? It seems very, very good. The cardstock quality,
99% there.
yeah, I mean it's a very, very pretty game. I absolutely love the art in this game. But you're like, well, what's this game? It's a card game, and you're essentially playing two phases of kind of the same game. You're essentially getting survivors for your camp. It's simple numbers here. In this case, you have tokens that end up on your side. Every round you roll in dice, and you roll in a base camp dice and your survivor dice. You add it up, you get that many survivors. On your turn, you're able to play one card, and you're always drawing back up to 6, so you have a selection of cards. And these are cards that are either usually going to mess over the other people's camps, because the goal of this game is to be the last camp standing, basically to be the only one with any survivors left. Now you're like, okay, well, you're just getting survivors every turn. How are you going to knock out all the other survivors of everybody else's camps? Well, about halfway through the game, you pull an event card, and this event card is called Hidden Bite. And basically what you do is you, from then on, lose survivors. Every time you roll in, you're going to be rolling in this green dice instead, and instead of gaining survivors, you're going to be losing them. So it's kind of a war of attrition. You first start by gaining survivors, and then at some point, somebody becomes infected because you're going to pull the card no matter what, and that's arbitrary. You have to play it. And from then on, pretty much, everybody's going to be losing survivors, because once you roll this in, you pass on the die to somebody else, and that person, when they roll in, will lose survivors. So it's arbitrarily, everybody's going to start going down in survivors at that point on in the game. And again, the idea is you're going to be the last one standing. So a lot of your cards are going to be just kind of screwing everybody else over as best you can, or at least in the case of multiple players, you're going to screw over whoever's in the lead. Everybody's going to kind of pile on that person to try to bring them down a little bit so they get them down and try to win the game. I found this game a lot of fun. It's actually very quick. Like I said, the art, and even at this phase, the art and everything looks gorgeous. It's a very pretty card game. It's not overly complicated. And of course, there's obviously luck factors involved, because you're rolling dice in for numbers and gaining. And there's no really way to tweak the dice as far as I can tell. And there is card draw randomity. However, it is fun to really mess with people in this game. So you'll get different buildings. You'll get different places that'll add to your dice. And me and Tom played a game, and basically I kept screwing him over. I kept blowing up his base, and he gave me a character, but I ended up sending it back his way, which screwed him over. So it's kind of, you get this. And for me, when I could screw people over in games, I get this warm, fuzzy feeling in the cockles of my heart. I'm just like, ha, 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 ha. So I love doing that. And it doesn't last long enough to overstay its welcome either. It kind of moves pretty quick, because everybody starts burning survivors once it gets to that phase. So it kind of goes really quickly. Now, the couple things I really enjoyed about it is, like I said, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a very not complicated game. Every card is spelled out pretty thematically and pretty easily. And I give them kudos. They didn't just sit here and go, okay, some bland name and you -2 survivors. They gave everything kind of like a theme, like voted out. You move a character or survivor from this camp to another, which I used on him to move the bad character out of mine. It was the carrier to like his camp. So everything's very thematic, very, very thematic. There's a lot of thought involved, and the card stock and everything else is very, very nice. It's a solid little game. I actually really, really like it. We'll be kickstarting it, I'm sure. Just because if you want something that's quick, but also gives you an element of messing with everybody else, and just kind of plays out really fast, but you have a good time doing it. Yeah, it's solid. Definitely a good intro game if you want a horror game. Of course, it's October now, especially. Unfortunately, this won't be out yet. It's in Kickstart right now, I believe. So you're not for this Halloween, unfortunately. Missed opportunity, guys. Dial it back, quick. Move time back.
Make it quick.
Make it quick. Get it out there. But yeah, it's a very solid little horror card game with zombies that doesn't really overstay its welcome, which is good because there's a lot of randomity involved. So it's like we racked it up. We played a game. We were done in 10 minutes? Like me and Tom were done in 10 minutes, not even. And then it's like, cool, we could play this again, And that's a good sign of a good game. That's really a sign of a solid little game. But yeah, I like it. Definitely kudos to me, guys. They did a great job. Check it out. We'll give the info below at some point with, for all the Kickstarter info and stuff like that. There'll be a link. And yeah, check it out. It's a cool little game, and it's probably not going to be overly expensive either. So if you want a quick, fast card game that gives you that zombie kick while also being able to just screw over your other opponents or whatever, yeah, look for this one. I can't really think of too many games actually that really do that very well. Honestly, I can't really that plays this quick but gives you that feel of just messing with everybody. And adding on the zombie apocalypse thing doesn't ever hurt. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this snapshot. This game is as Tom would say, Misfit Tom would say, fun in a bun. Although I think it's more like fun in a brain because, you know.
A brain in a bun.
Brain in a bun? Even better. Well, I mean, there might be gluten allergies involved. You know, they don't want the bun sometimes.
Maybe that's what made them zombies. Gluten?
Hey, gluten. There, you heard it from here. You heard it from here. Carrier's going to be the biggest gluten allergic person ever and eats a ton of gluten. There you go. We figured it out, guys. Until then, of course, as always, you know, game on.